Thank you for joining the presentation. Today I will talk on the topic how to organize Toastmaster conference. I will base it on my own experience. So I had a chance to organize a district conference offline 2 years ago in District 108. That was the first and the last offline district conference in D108. Also, I had a chance to supervise or take part in organizing other conferences. And I checked the documents, what Toastmaster documents say about organizing the conferences. So I will refer to it. I will not talk much about what is written in the documents. I will rather just tell you points that are in line with the documents that I read. The idea is to talk about what the conference is, so why it is organized, what's the idea behind the conference, then to move how to start the preparation, how to prepare yourself to be conference chair, how to build a team related to the conference. And then I will move to the event itself. So the pattern, how to organize the conference and the details of the conference. So what components are there in organizing the conference and what are the things you should have in mind when organizing the conference. So first of all, when we organize Toastmaster conference, it's worth to keep in mind the mission of our organization. So we empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders, which means we are not focused on, for instance, doing motivational speeches that are here only to make someone feel good, but not provide value in terms of knowledge, how to be effective communicator or leader. We're not here to sell some products. We are not here to earn money. We are here to let others to become more effective communicators and leaders, but also to let ourselves to do it. So as an organizing team, as organizers, we can also have in mind that this mission also applies to us and our team. I know that today we have some guests from outside our district. Welcome. But when it comes to our district, we have 6 divisions. So usually in Toastmaster, we organize division conferences each half a year. So there's a good chance division A, B, C, D, E, and F in District 108 will organize one conference soon and another conference in spring. Also, when we think about conferences, in Poland, we have 2 national conferences, usually 2 per year, that are organized together by divisions A, C, D, E. And we have the district conference that is for all divisions. And the upcoming district conference will happen in Poland, in Poznań or nearby, and Kasia Ciupa is here with us. She will be the chief organizer, the conference chair. Congratulations and a chance to clap for taking this role and having the chance to learn by doing it and provide us with value. Thank you. When we think about organizing conference, we have to have in mind also this geography. So it will be important later on. If you want to organize a district conference or a national conference, then you have to have it in mind. Also division conference, especially in division B. It matters when it is organized, because if you organize it in northern Finland, it will be hard to get people there, obviously, or south or eastern Russia in division F. Since almost all clubs, maybe not almost all, but majority of clubs in Russia is based in Moscow. So organizing something in the Far East would make everyone travel very, very far. So what are the major components of the conference? There are workshops, contests, recognition, and the social part. So we have to have all these aspects in mind if we organize a real conference, because sometimes the conference can be skipped and the vision contest can be just held. But I would not recommend it myself, because conferences are the way how we can, as it is seen here, on workshops we can learn, on the contests we can have fun, give chance people to compete with each other, have an audience, but there always, this contest we always have to recognize people, because this is a chance to meet. I hope this year it will be more often offline, to meet and recognize achievements of people, and to do some social activities, so to get to know each other, to build friendships, to get acquainted, so it's easier to share ideas later on, and also it's a chance to have fun.
Can I have a question, please?
Yes, however, I suggest moving questions to the end part, because there's a good chance I will answer your question in the meantime. However, if you will see that I'm talking in a way you don't understand because I ramble or something like that, then please let me know, because this will disrupt your receiving the message. So what is the reason to do the conferences in the first place? I would suggest, from my perspective, there are 3 reasons. One is to give value to others. And big thanks to everyone who is willing to organize a conference because of that. But there are 2 more or less altruistic reasons. One is to gain experience, which is very important part of being in Toastmasters. And the second thing, which is very important also, is to be satisfied. I can say that from all the things I have done in Toastmasters for almost 6 years, being in Toastmasters, the most gratifying moment was at the end of district conference, where I was the conference chair, because there is a lot of fun in doing things like being area director, club presidents, or doing some club roles. But these are small steps through half a year or whole year. But the district conference, you're prepared for a long time, or any conference, you prepare it for a long time. And then you have this moment, these 2 days, 3 days, when you can experience everything that you have done, and you can see all these smiling and satisfied people if things went well. And this is a good source of satisfaction and good reason to do conferences. But when we do conference, we should also think not what we want, but what our participant wants. So they will be happy after the conference, and they will come on the conference in the first place. And I would put it in the 6 categories. So one thing is education, which is related to workshops, but also it is related, for instance, to seeing a great speakers on the stage during the contest and being able to learn from them. Or even being able to learn from our master of ceremonies if they are good on the conference. Second thing is competition. So we have the contest, we give people a chance to compete. We also give people a chance to observe this competition, some emotions. So this is integral part of Toastmaster conferences. Then we have networking. So there is a chance for people to meet each other, to learn who they are, also to meet some district leaders, some workshop leaders, some champions, people from other clubs, sometimes people from a different club in the same city, but they have never went on the meeting, never had the chance to meet. So this is a great chance to get to know other Toastmasters. To have fun, this is also very important. People go on the conferences and they expect it will be enjoyable event, and not something that like a boring lesson when they will eventually learn something, but it will be a hard time for them. When they have fun, then also they sometimes want to have a sense of belongings. So we are all members of the Toastmaster International Organization. And maybe this is not the main reason, but it can also make people feel better, and it can make people more involved in the organization. When you see on the event all the banners or the branding, or people who belong to Toastmaster, or people who also think alike us, then it can also boost morale of people. They will get back with more energy to the clubs. And the last thing is the appreciation, and this is mostly during the gala. So when some awards or recognition is given, some people are appreciated. There's a chance to appreciate these who did the most for the last months or year or years. Then how to start with the preparations? First thing, if you are yet considering to organize a conference, then I can say, or if you think maybe you need assurance if you're ready, then I can tell you that practice makes perfect. So the best thing you can do before you organize a big event is to organize a smaller event. And before you organize a smaller event is to organize a very small event. For instance, in my case, it was Toastmaster on the meeting first, then the club contest, then organizing some local workshops, then division conference as a vice chair, and then chair of the district conference. And it made me feel comfortable on every stage. Of course, you can take a leap and you can just start from the district conference or from a bigger event, especially if you have a relevant experience. It's just, if you want to get prepared more, try with a smaller, similar events first. Also, this is a good way to get to know people. So if you are active in the organization, doing some events and doing things in the organization, even being in the club as club officer or a district officer, then you get to know people and you get to learn on whom you can rely. And then you can easily build a team. If you don't know people in the non-profit organization, when you cannot pay people, then it's much harder to recruit. Sometimes people whom you will know are not the people who you will have in the team, but these people whom you know, they can tell you on whom you can trust to be in your team, whom it's wise to invite to your team. So good thing in preparing to organizing the conference is to get to know as many people as possible in Toastmaster, but also to do something together with them so you can see if they deliver. And if they are responsible and if they will tell you that they will do something, they will really do it, or at least tell you that there are some obstacles. Because the last thing you want while organizing the conference is someone who will tell you that he or she will do something, but later on not doing the thing. Whom you need a team, in the team, it depends on how big event you organize, how ambitious you are about the scope of the event. The obvious thing, the bigger the event, the more people you need. And since I would advise against managing directly a team bigger than, let's say, 10 people, then if you expect to have people with minor roles who also need to do something on the conference, maybe on the day or a few days just before the conference, it's best to recognize who will be in your team, the core team, organize the conference, and later on assign all the people to them. So if there is someone responsible for registration during the conference, let this person build a team of people who will be reporting to that person. You can help in building this team, but it's best if this is the decision of the responsible person to get someone to his team within your team. Because these people should report to that person, so you will not be burdened directly, but by answering all the questions and not doing micromanagement, which can be very problematic, especially directly before the conference when there is more work. And the bigger the event is, the less possible it is that you will be able to do everything at once by yourself. Also, when you delegate and give authority to people, let them do things by themselves, then they are more motivated than mostly when they just have to follow your orders. This is unlikely to work in Toastmasters. I can give you an example whom I had in my team and while organizing the district conference. It may not be a perfect set. It's just an example. So I had one person responsible for the speakers, one person behind like a chair of the speakers, someone who was in charge of logistics, so venue, registration points, some accessories, this kind of stuff. Finance, So also getting all the payments, but also taking care of some notes about how much was spent already. Sponsors and marketing, so that was together. Myself, I will later on talk about it, but I would advise towards splitting it, because this area is not that much connected and there is a lot of work with both. So it's better to have two people here. Same, it's for most people, it's better to have two people for logistics. So this is a very broad topic. So if you have offline conference and you don't have someone who is really doing a lot, I had. So that was Ewa Bocheńska. Some of you may know her. She's like a person who can do as much as 3 people, but usually you don't have these kind of people in the team. Then I had one person in charge of contests. This person was not contest chair. This person was not chief judge. This person was only responsible to find contest chairs, ensure there are chief judges, and help whatever kind of help was needed. So also to ensure that there was some equipment needed for the contest, that the location for judges was secured, and so on. And then we had gala, person responsible for gala and social events. So a separate person. This person was not organizing the program that much for the gala, but all the organization related to the gala was for this person. The person responsible for a theme. So many Toastmaster conferences have some additional theme. We always have conferences that are made of workshops, contests, this networking parties, but the part related to the theme is also important. So for instance, in Czech Republic, there was a theme that family reunion, but it was related to the mafia style, I would say, and this was set in kind of 20s or 30s, plus there was swing music on the conference, some dresses, and so on. So it's always great to have a theme. For us, it was Picture It. So we had for instance, the Western room when the MC was wearing the Western costume. And you can think of any theme you want. Just if there is theme, there is much more fun and people will remember this conference. And they will already come with in a good mood. And you have an idea for promotion. It's easy to distinguish your conference from other conferences happening in the same time. So it's very beneficial. It's good to have a separate person for it. Why? Because everyone has important tasks. And if everyone has important tasks, this team, yeah, it's kind of important, but there are more important things to do. So it can happen that no one will pay much attention to this team because no one will have time to do it. And if you have a separate person that is only focused on something that others don't consider most important and just talks with others to get the things more aligned to this team, then it can work perfectly. For us also, this person was behind the name of the conference. So it was agreed with all of us, but the proposition came from person responsible for the theme. And then we had person responsible for MCs, which includes like hosts of the rooms. So people these who are opening the event, these who are on the gala event, but also these who are also just in charge of the rooms during the whole conference. I will get more into the details to each of these fields later. So about organizing the event, how to start. When we have a team, but we want to start to work on the event, it's good to determine goals. So we have the responsibilities, but what we want to achieve by the conference. So first, you can think of some vision. So for us, as an example, I will put an example from my district conference, the one I was doing with my team. So we wanted to create a modern district conference. That was the general idea, what we want to achieve. This is very broad, but it points to some direction. And then we listed a long list of more specific goals, which I think is good to have, because then you can build plan how to achieve all these goals. Our examples first, and this is usually true for all Toastmaster conferences. to avoid loss. There are two kinds of Toastmaster conferences, or three kinds. The district conferences is usually all expenses are covered by the district budget. But usually the assumption in the district budget is that there will be no loss from the conference. So that's the idea, but the organizer doesn't risk any money. For division conferences, from my experience, it's usually that there is some potential for reimbursement in case of loss, but there are limits to it. So if organizer will lose like 5,000 euros, then it's probably on the organizer. So maybe he will get reimbursement of 2,000, but there is not enough money for the district to cover some extreme expenses for the division conferences. So usually it's just good to talk with division director who is responsible for such a conference, how much can be covered in case of a grand loss, and just not start with renting the most expensive room in the town. I didn't hear about someone losing money on the conference, but on the division conference, but just people have to be worried about it. And in Poland, we also have FA conferences, which is kind of risky because it is organized without support from the district budget. So if someone loses the conference loses money, then organizers have to pay, unfortunately, by themselves. So our idea was also related to, our goal was also related to the participants. So we aimed for 300, 400. We didn't touch, we achieved the first goal. The second we didn't achieve. We had to, from my experience, we haven't had good promotion good enough. So we had 215 participants. We wanted tickets not to be only for the rich. So it depends from the country, from the place where you live. But if you have a conference that costs 500 zloty without gala dinner, or like 125 euro, and then plenty of people will not go there because they just don't have this amount of money to spend on the conference. Some people are students, some people have jobs that doesn't bring that much income, and it's good to think that since it's non-profit organization and we are doing it not from money, then it's good to think about getting as many people on the conference as possible. For Poland, back then we wanted 200 zloty, which at that time was about 50 euro. Back then it was 50 euro. At the end, we ended with like 210 zloty with the normal ticket, but the early birds were cheaper and the late tickets were more expensive. But we managed to be around this price. From what I heard, it's a bit more difficult to find cheap places right now, since there are some restrictions nowadays, but I hope in time it will get back to the more standard prices. Then we had goals related to value for participants. So we wanted there to be education and communication leadership. It should be a pleasant experience, which is also a value by itself. We wanted to create that people create and strengthen relations with other participants. And we wanted to make this experience memorable for them. So not just pleasant, but also I think they will remember months after the conference, or maybe years. We also wanted to support activities of Toastmaster International. So one thing was to conduct district council meeting properly and with quorum. I will refer to it briefly and I will not come back much to it later, because this year the district council meeting is only on the district conference, and this year it will not be on the district conference. Because district council meeting this year has to be online, and there is totally no point in making online district council meeting during the offline conference. So if you have online conference, then maybe you have the district council meeting during it. But I know that in district 108, we'll have district council meeting probably 2 weeks before the district conference this year. And probably this is exception. I think it's the first and only time it happens this way. This was also a year ago, but a year ago it was not allowed to have the offline district conference, which is allowed now. Now we also wanted to conduct contest properly, which is can be very important for the district conferences, especially, but it's always important for the conferences. This is officially the main purpose of organizing the conference. The only thing that must be done by division, for instance, is to organize the contest. And then we want to give space for our Toastmasters to share the Toastmaster experience. So people learn what's going on in other clubs and so on. But that's not all. We had really long list because we wanted to be sure that we have everything covered by this list, because then we can just focus to align all our actions towards the goals we did put here. So we wanted to increase sense of belonging of people, so people really feel that they are part of Toastmaster International. I know of someone, at least one person, who was considering to join. This person went on the conference, and since then this person is very active for over 2 years. Was on the various roles in the club, and was one of people who saved the club when it was in the biggest trouble. So sometimes the conference can really boost morale of people. Also for me, I was on the conference when I was new in Toastmaster, and it was very impactful for me. So sometimes it's good to get new people on the conference, not only the old people. Then we can promote Toastmaster beyond the organization. So this is usually by getting people from outside the organization on the event. And this is, from my current experience, a very tough task, because you need a different kind of promotion to get to people from outside the organization. You need to have in mind this point when you prepare the agenda. So you can consider whether it's worth the effort or not. From my experience, usually it's not much worth the effort. So you can invite your friends and maybe they will come, but probably you need to spend too much time to get people from outside Toastmaster on your conference, Toastmaster conference. So it's better to focus on the Toastmasters. And then we wanted to have learning experience for the organizing team. So for us, we wanted to do things in the way that we'll be able to learn. And we obviously wanted to do everything in line with Toastmaster values. So integrity, respect, service, and excellence. That was also something we thought as a must when organizing the conference. And that's all. These are the goals we had. And this is an example of goals you may have, but of course, it's good to think of your own goals and discuss it together with the team. Now a bit of outline regarding different types of conferences. So as I mentioned, we have division conferences. We have in Poland the EFEC conference, which is national conference, and the district conference. Sorry for one word in Polish, but I guess you will be able to understand konferencja as conference. So for them, this is a schedule for various days. So for the division conference, we usually do nothing on Thursday, because the main part of the conference starts on Saturday. So a day before, we have some social event. It can be like a meeting in a pub, for instance, or a walk or a party. Usually it's a party, but it doesn't have to be. On the second day or on the first day of the conference itself, we have the conference and we have the party. So for many people, the party on Saturday is a must, if they are party people. And on Saturday, today we have the conference, but not till the evening, because people need time to get home. It doesn't have to end very early, because usually people are not from that far, because they are just from the same division. You have to consider what are the boundaries of your division, but there is no time for some social event after the conference, because people need to get home. Maybe unless your division would be one city, then maybe you're able to do something till the evening. Then you have EFEC, which is national conference. So on Thursday, we have usually some optional event for people who live nearby, usually, and who really want to get Friday off. Then we start the conference late on Friday. So there is a chance for people to end work and to move to the conference, unless they live very far. but usually people, if the conference is in the city of the country, then usually people should be able to, let's say, work, maybe not 8 hours, but not to take day off on that day. Then we have on Saturday and on Friday, there is always a party because people are already there and the conference started. Then we have Saturday, conference day, and another party. And on Sunday, we have a conference, but we need to give people space to get back to their homes. So they can get back by night, but they shouldn't come back next day because they want to work probably. At least they must work. And the district conference. So the district conference is shifted. So it's organized on a different days than Saturday and Sunday. The core part of the district conference is Friday and Saturday. So usually we can, for every comers, we can organize additional event on Thursday, and it is advisable because we start conference Friday morning. So people are coming day earlier usually, unless they are from the same city. Then we have a party as usual. Then we have the next day of the conference. On Saturday, which usually there is a district council meeting, which in this year we'll be able to skip. Gala dinner, which is the ceremony when awards are given and when all the recognitions like distinguished Toastmasters medals are given. Some awards for the clubs are announced. So this is a big ceremony. Usually this is in the gala style. So this suits for men and nice dresses for women. So formal style. And then we have a party as usual. And on Sunday, we don't have the conference itself. So we have usually the training for newly elected district officers. And we can have some social event for these people who are able to stay. So especially in the around noon, it's good to do something. It can be like we had an idea of kayaking or visiting a museum, or I know there was in the Brno, it was some in Czech Republic, there was some visit in the winery, I think, something like this. So, but many people will just in the morning go home because they have a long road, or they have a flight and they have to rush for this flight. And that's the only way for them to be able to work on Monday. That's why the conference is probably organized from Friday, so people are back home on Sunday. At least that's how it has always been in the past. I think in the 95 we used to be all together, and now in the 108. A bit more about working with your team. So we can do a plan and we can do a follow-up. It's good to start with this plan. So we have goals, but we can write down what everyone has to do and what are the tasks to be done by everyone by the conference date. Then we can set the deadlines, and we should consider two kinds of deadlines. One is hard deadline. So if we will not do something by a specific day, then we are doomed. There are some cases when you really have to secure a venue by a specific date, and if you don't do it by then probably you will not be able to make the conference happen well. And there are some internal deadlines. So you think, just as a team, you think you need to do these things by this date, because later on you don't have time to do everything at once. So it's good to be aware of these both deadlines. For a team, you can communicate deadlines, but when you are the leader of the team, you have to be aware which deadlines you really have to take care about and do follow up. And if you see that they are at risk, then these people need for sure your support. You need to really ensure that these things will not be late. And it's good to keep plan updated. So if you have a meeting with a team and you see that some things were not done, or some things are not important anymore, or there are some new tasks, it's good to put them in the plan. So you really see the progress, and you are not just referring to some abstraction that was up to date a few months ago. I encourage you to have at least monthly meeting with your team. It depends how much time you have to the event itself, but it's good to have regular meetings with the team, because that makes you sure that everyone knows what's going on. When you see people in person, then it's a bigger chance that you will find out the emotions, the feelings that someone think was not said, some people questions were not asked. It's a good way to avoid it when you are have a meeting in person, or if not possible, online, but with cameras on. And if you see that someone is not delivering, consider to change this person from someone else without delaying this decision too long. I had an experience when I was hesitating to sack someone, and this person eventually, I had to talk with this person, and this person agreed to resign because this person did very little. But then I need to find someone in rush, and then our PR was not as good as we could have done it. So it's better to change someone in the team early in the project than to do it very late, because you gave already this person 10 chances before you decided to fire it. And if you have a big team and you did not work together in many projects with this person, there's a good chance there will be, let's say, one person that is not reliable enough. Maybe some miscommunication, maybe this person had a very tough situation in personal life, but we have, as a leaders, need to be aware that if someone will not deliver, then the conference will not have a good quality. And now moving to the specific concerns. I guess that some of you were waiting for this part. Sorry, I will just move back to the presentation a bit. Is the presentation visible right now? Please note. Yes, thank you. So I will start with the venue. And the venue is the big deal. Why? First of all, because this is something that determines most of your spendings. Because first, you will spend a lot for the venue itself, usually. And secondly, because catering, gala, some travel, this is all usually related to the venue and depend on the venue. You should have an idea what you need before you sign a contract with the venue and before you even start to really look for the venue. So how many rooms would you like to have? How many people you need? What kind of location you would like to have for the conference. But until you have venue secured, you hardly can be sure that it will be as you wish. So if you want to have a place for, let's say, 500 people and 5 rooms in parallel, and you would like to be able to combine them, so you have room for 400 people, it may happen you will find such a venue for a good price, because this is very important for the Toastmaster conference, the good price. But there's also a chance you will not find it. So it's good to know what you're looking for. But if you already agree with speakers that there will be 5 people talking in parallel and you have the full agenda, and then you find out you have only 3 rooms, then you are in a very bad position because you promised something to people and now you cannot deliver. So it's good to have an idea what you want to achieve, to start working on a securing venue as soon as possible. It takes time because you need to negotiate. You want to find the best option, not just the first option, because you need to save money and get a good terms. And you should try to secure this venue as soon as possible. In most cases, the contract is signed by the conference organizer, but for the district conference, it's usually signed by the district director, because district director is the only person who is the official representative of Toastmaster International, and only this person can sign the contract not in her or his own name, but in the name of the organization. And the contract is paid later on by the organization. It can be paid by district card or by the funds transfer, but it is important that the district director should be agreed with district director. This deal, it should be sent to the district director, and it should be agreed when, how it will be signed. And before we have the final confirmation about the venue should not be considered secure. So I was discussing with one hotel about the venue, and later on I found, so they told us that this is booked. It was a long time before the conference, but still they told us this is booked, we are just negotiating, and then they gave it to someone else who paid more during the negotiations. And that was done by the person who was quite new in the staff of this hotel. So I assume it was not the policy of the hotel, but if you are not discussing with the head manager of the hotel, it can happen more often. I also know about the situation when for others conference, the gala dinner was canceled like 1 day before the conference, because also someone paid much more and they didn't have the contract. So it's very important to have the contract signed, because people care about the reputation, and they will not try to mislead you, but you cannot be sure. Yeah, so venue is a big deal, and to have the signed contract is a big deal. So if you have a year to the conference, you can still start to work on the venue. It's the sooner the better. Also, you have a better chance to get a good price if you do it in advance. Because many events, that's also a hint, many events are organized months ahead. So there's a chance that on the date you already did promotion about, the rooms you want are booked by someone else. And one thing about venue I would like to mention here more is the location of this venue. So you should consider that how people will be commuting. So people quite often will come by train, probably. Some will come by cars coming together. Some will fly to the conference, especially for the district conference. So how hard it's to get there from the railway station, how hard it's to get there from the airport, how hard it's to get there by car, how hard it's to park there. And also you should consider accommodation. So if people will be able to stay nearby. Some people may want to stay in the hotel, but it's quite often that some people just are coming together and they are fine with staying in the cheap hostel. I think that in our part of Europe, the hostels are fine. They are clean and you can have everything there you need. It's just a big, like you have 6 beds instead of 1 or 2. So it's cheaper, but if you are coming with friends, then many people can be interested in this option, which is often very much cheaper than staying in the hotel room. And on the conference, usually you don't stay in the hotel at all, because you just get up, then you go with some people whom you know on the breakfast, then you go to the conference, then you sometimes maybe you just change your clothes, then you go on the party, and then you go to sleep, and that's all. That's it. So you don't spend time in the hotel. So you don't need a great place to stay if you just need a place where you can sleep. So the accommodation is important, and you should consider also other activities. So where will be the party? Where will be the gala, if there is a gala? Where will be some social events? Will be, extra thing is people like to see the old town or feel the spice of the place. So if they will come far and then they will stay on the outskirts, not seeing the place, they can be disappointed unless you have the best outskirts in the world. I think that the reasonable distance for most conferences is 15 minutes by cab. It's also to stay from the conference. I think it's the best if you can, of course, it's best if you can walk to the conference, but I think it's like if you have 15 by car or cab, it's acceptable. If you have to go to the conference one way and back for half an hour or an hour through whole the city, then usually you, for instance, be late for gala dinner, and it will be hard for you to get up on the conference, how to get back from the party. So you should keep it in mind. When you think of venue, you should also consider the room for the speakers. So how many workshops you want to have simultaneously, how many contests you want to have simultaneously, and how many people you need in the room. Because you can, if you have 100 people per room and 400 people on the conference, which is, okay, this is a very big amount, but just giving an idea, then you have a problem, because some people, not everyone wants to be on the same workshop. So people will be standing in this room, or they shouldn't be standing. So it is acceptable that sometimes people, there will be too many people in the room, but it shouldn't be that much. So you should have some free space. And also you may need to join rooms. So when you have conference opening, some keynote speech maybe, when you have gala, if it's in the conference venue, some recognition contest, then there is usually more people who wants to be in the same place. For the opening, everyone usually wants to be in the same place. For the contests, you can, especially if you have, in Poland, then standard is to have bilingual conferences. So the district conference should be bilingual. It must be in English, but it also should be in Polish, because majority of, more than half of district members speak in Polish. So with a bilingual conference, you can have contests in English on the district conference, but you can have smaller room for these who don't speak English at all, and they will not understand the content, so they can have some workshops in parallel. But then you should think about wall, because people should not, this workshop should not disturb the contest. So you cannot have loud clapping behind the very thin wall that is made something that resembles paper. And you need, for contests, you need place for table topics contestants, or for evaluation speech participants. So we will need also the place for them. And place to count votes. So you need to consider when these things will be happening. It's all when you think about venue. You need to secure it all. And if there is a district conference and you have the training on Sunday, you need to confirm it that with the district leadership that there will be such a training. But if there will be, then you also need to book room for it. So it's usually a small room for like 30 people, but still it should also be arranged with a hotel. When you arrange more things at once, you can get a better price. And you can also think here about potentially giving a place to stay with when you negotiate with the hotel for your keynote speaker or someone like that. So this is something that you can reimburse. If you have someone coming from far for your conference, it's good to give them place to stay, and it's more comfortable for them to stay at the conference venue. Okay, and now I will just refer to my notes. So to make it faster, I will just pause the presentation. You will have a chance to see my face for a change. So the speakers. First thing, it's important to start fast with the speakers, because they may have other invitations and they can accept them, or they may have obligations or just plan some holidays. So if they will book time for you, they will come, like 95%. But if you ask them months ahead, if you ask them just before the conference, well, they will be able to say if they have time, but there is a good chance they won't. Also, they will feel appreciated if you ask them far in advance, because they will think, okay, he or she really thinks about me, and they really want me on that conference. Start with a star. So if you organize the district conference, it's good to have a keynote speaker. Usually the good match is either the international director or the world champion public speaking. If there is a problem with getting someone from your budget, which usually is a problem, then you can combine it with other conferences. So for our case, it was Manoj Vasudevan, he was coming from Singapore. we started by like our person responsible for the contest was consulting with me. It was his decision, but he was just reviewing the winning speeches, choosing whom he considers the best speakers. Then he was checking if they have some credentials as workshop leaders. So this person is not the master of one speech, but will be able also to deliver on the conference. Manusz was doing the keynote speech and one workshop during the conference, just not to waste money to get him just for 1 hour. And we were splitting the cost. So he was staying with us. Before that, he was going to a different district. And after that, a week later, he was going to another district. So the flight to Europe and back was covered together. And we were just paying for these small flights between the district and he was had to stay for a whole week. So we also had to cover this. But it was very much acceptable. And he had time to also do some sightseeing in Europe. So that was also fun for him. So this is usually how it can be done. So that you don't pay, you must not pay anything. You are not allowed to pay to workshop leaders, but you're allowed to reimburse the trip and they can have a nice holiday. Maybe usually you'd pay, usually it is that you don't pay cover for the people traveling the whole stay if they want to stay longer, for instance. But it's always that plane tickets cost much. Okay, so we have the best speaker. Sometimes it can be the world champion. For the division conference, it's best to find someone recognizable whom you really think that will be great and to have some keynote speech. And once you have your star, then you can ask others, listen, hello, I think you'll be a great speaker for my conference. We already have this star. Would you like to talk on the same conference? And it's much easier to get another good speaker this way, because it's people like to speak on the conferences when there is someone recognizable already as another speaker. And once we get the few best speakers we can get, then it's easy to get everyone else. You can also consider double approach. So you can ask a few people to come, and you can also make people apply to make workshops. We did it in this way. So we had few people invited, and we had also people applying for the workshops, and then the leader of this for the speakers were checking the credentials, checking the experience, if the topic is in line with what we want, and so on. We had also a clear rule that we don't allow for workshops that don't provide value. So if someone wanted to have a nice speech for 40 minutes, that was not allowed. We agreed that every speech must learn audience sampling. So it must be about communication or leadership or public speaking, but it should not be just a motivational speech that you should be great and you, as long as you fight, you are the winner. For the idea was that for the nice speeches, we have the contests and people will see nice speeches there. And on the workshops, they should always be something we will remember from the workshop. And these rules were communicated, so no one should be disappointed later on. Okay, so when we talk about workshop leaders, we should also think about the languages. So if we have a bilingual conference, it's good to have someone who understands the specific language, who is recruiting. So our recruiter was Zen. He don't speak Polish, so he recruited to his team Magda Hałapacz, who was responsible for Polish speakers. And there is always a question: what will be reimbursed, or what will be the discounts for the speakers? It doesn't have to be announced, and these rules don't have to be equal for everyone. Usually they are not equal for everyone, so the top stars get more, especially people from abroad who are from outside the district. Usually you can either give free tickets, or you can reimburse travel, or you can do both. You should be considering not to give too much, because on the Toastmaster conference, you can have, let's say, 20 speakers, 20 organizers with discounts. and 80 participants. And then it means that half of people, if you give discount to everyone and you make conference for them for free, then you can end up with half of the participants not paying. And it will make prices for everyone else very high, and they will not come. And later on, it will mean that 20 people are covering for the whole conference. So it's good to. So my experience is that the discounts should not be too high, but you should have some general idea what to say when you communicate with speakers. You don't have to start with, okay, come, you will get this discount, but when they will ask, you should have an answer prepared. And of course, it's better to promise less first and then to increase than to promise first more and then to reduce, because no one likes the idea that you tell you have free tickets and later on, oh no, in fact, you have to pay half of the price. For our conference, for most speakers, we gave them free tickets, gala not included, and travel was not reimbursed. So that was our case. For I think we had 2 speakers from whom we covered everything, including gala, one from Spain and one was Manoj from Singapore. Okay, so we have the speakers covered. Now let's move to our agenda of the event. What we should consider with the agenda. First, if we have bilingual conference, then it should be made in a consistent way. So you should avoid gaps. If you have, if you don't want to have for the whole day both languages in parallel, but for instance, you have content in Polish only for half a day, it's important not to do it in the morning and in the evening. It should be somewhere in the between, but without gaps, because these people, for instance, who are local, they can just go home after the part that is interesting for them is over. There are several options regarding the breaks during the conference. The shortest reasonable break is 10 minutes. So 5 minutes break will create chaos on your event. So I strongly encourage you not to make 5 minutes long breaks, because people need to leave the room, need to enter the room. Sometimes they need to go to the bathroom. And 10 minutes are acceptable only if the rooms are very close. So if you have rooms door to door, which is usually possible in the hotel and probably not possible, for instance, if you rent rooms in the university, then you should, then you can have 10 minutes, but of course, take into consideration that this break is brief. So people will have little time to take snacks and they will not have a long conversation. If their distances are bigger, you can make 15 minutes long breaks. And also 20 minutes long breaks are okay, because 20 minutes is enough time to talk with people. And 20 minutes are especially good if you have 1 hour long workshops. This you can consider. The shortest workshops that make some sense are probably 40 minutes. Usually the longest workshops on average, like maybe there are some exceptions, but usually the longest are 1 hour. And cost wisely and how much effort it takes to organize the event. If you have 1 hour long workshops, it's easier for people to, you get less speakers, but give them more space to use their experience. You can focus on the best. So if you have, if you're organizing conference in the way, okay, I want to give people a chance to try their skills. They are not experienced it. It can happen on the division conference. 45 minutes can be okay. If you get the pros or the best of the best, then better usually to give them 1 hour so they can really use their skills. And now the truth is that they don't have 1 hour, even in this case, or 45 minutes, because and they should be informed about it, that they should prepare shorter workshop, because this hour that is in the agenda includes entrance, so people, and so opening, so they should be introduced by someone. And later on, it also includes them some thank you, please, there will be workshop in another place. So opening and closing is not led by the workshop leader, and at least 5 minutes need to be secured for this. And probably 1 minute from it should be for the workshop leader to be late with closing, because even if someone is really strict, then if you have to finish workshop, you need 1 minute to close this workshop. You will not just stop immediately. So 1 hour workshop is maximum 55 minutes per speaker. And it's also good to tell the speakers that they will have exactly that time and you will not accept any delays. So you will just interrupt if they will prolong, because this is one of the most important parts in the conference, to follow the agenda and to not allow anyone to do workshops during the break, because people will not skip the break. They will just be late on the next workshop, and the next workshop leader will ask to have the time he was assigned. So if it was told you can speak for 55 minutes, he or she will want to speak for 55 minutes, and maybe he or she will speak longer. And then you end up, and then you find out that there is a workshop during the lunch break, and that can create a big problem for people. So one of the most important things for the conference, everything done on time. For this, a hint, you can have a person or a few people who will be responsible for bringing people from the break. So someone with some bell, for instance, going on the corridor and just ringing the bell, so people will know that they should stop the conversations and go in. And it should happen before the time given in the agenda. So let's say 2 minutes before. Okay, and you can also remember why I organized the agenda, because I saw that we were in the past, I think I was myself trying to start the agenda at full hours. And later on, I realized there is no such a need, because especially for the offline conference, people are already there. So the workshop can start like 2:35. It doesn't have to start at 2 or at 3 or 2:30. Whatever suits your agenda, just set this hour. Accuracy of 5 minutes is good enough. Then we have the contest, and there are various kinds of conferences, but for the district conference, right now we have 4 contests. In fact, for most conferences, we have 4 contests, except usually EFIC conference. So with 4 contests, we need to allocate a lot of time for the contests. And it's good to assume that the contest can be shorter or longer. So I advise to put 1 contest before the break and 1 contest before the end of the day. So if possible, you can do on the first day 1 contest before the break and 1 contest at the end of the day, and on the same day, next day, the same way. So you just make break long enough so people will be able to eat, even if the contest will take a bit longer. The closing on the conference, if you have secured a room for the whole day with the venue, then it's not a problem. It will take 15 minutes longer. And because of the rules of the contest, judges have as much time as they need. So you're not able to speed them up. And you should also consider that there is a custom to interview all the contestants after the contest, not when they are given the awards, because then you are interviewing also these who are lost, which is not really that good. You interview everyone after the contest, so they are at the moment when they don't know who won, who lost. They are just in the moment when they were able to go to that high level. So they managed to get to the division contest or the district contest, and now they can just enjoy this moment, being asked one or question probably, because it has to be brief. And it has to be well thought by the person who will be conducting the contest. Choice of people who will be conducting contests is important, because they should not, one thing is that they should keep the contest fun, but they should also, but more important part is that they should do it with the rules. So for instance, they should avoid telling like first contestant, last contestant. These are small things. But when people are competing, they can feel that the chances were not equal because someone was called last contestant, for instance. there should be, especially for the district conference, but it's good also for other conferences, there should be time, and for this conference it is a must, time to check the stage by the contestants. So they should be informed when they can go on the stage. They can look at the stage. The best if you can provide them with the mic, that's additional pro. But for sure they should be able to stay on the stage and be able to say a few words and check, so in the empty room or just with other contestants in the room. So just to see how the voice is heard in the room and so on. So they check, they will feel more secure. But what should be important also to remember is that the contestants who should be interviewed only once. So if someone is participating in all the contests, this person should be only interviewed after the last contest. So this person will not get another additional spotlight that could give this person extra chances for other contests. What was about this making fun by the contest chair? It was also the feedback we got for the humorous speech contest a few years ago. It was that the contest chair was, and in fact, it was not a contest chair, it was the person conducting the contest, because on the higher level, it's good to have contest chair who's doing backstage. So if anything goes wrong, then you have contest chair who is able to go and secure the thing. And there's a separate master of ceremony who is just focused on conducting the contest and entertaining the audience. But this person was too funny. So this person was making too funny, but doing too many jokes during the humorous contest, and some people didn't like it because it was distracting. So it's better to do it in the entertaining, but maybe not that much humorous way. It's good to put something related to the theme during the contest, especially when the audience is waiting. That's spectacular. One of the things I remember the most is that was when the master of ceremony during the international speech contest first introduced that every contestant will be in the gladiator mode. He was dressed in like a Caesar, because that was the movie theme, and every contestant was cheered when coming on the stage. First, he read the full name, and then he read the title, like the rules. Then there was cheering up. So if there was Cyril Junior Dim, then this was Cyril, like the gladiators coming on the stage. And then this was against by the rules, so just the title and the formal name and the silence. And for these who had too long names, so he put the slide how it should be shouted by the audience. So everyone had equal energy when coming on the stage. So these kinds of things, I remember it even better than the speeches. The important thing is also that you can, during this kind of contest, you can count votes after the contest. You don't have to keep audience there because you announce the results on the gala. So if it's the district conference, or if you have division conference that has also gala, which sometimes happen, but it's not a must, then you don't need to keep audience in the room. You can just count the votes, but let the audience go on the break. You should consider when the votes will be counted. This should be in the separate place that other people should not look at these votes. Also, people you should consider when there can be some discussion if there is some protest, because all judges need to gather there. And you should ensure the technicalities. The audio is very, very important for the international speech contest. Because the recording, that there must be recording, and the recording is sent for the regional level, and the speech is judged there based on the recording. So if the recording is in the poor quality, you reduce the chance of your district champion to win. So it's very important. And obviously, if mic goes off and there is a big room with many people, then it can also at least build feeling that the chances were not equal, even if someone is able to speak loud. We had this situation that probably the contestant, someone pushed the button and turned off the mic, and that was the headset. This person was able to speak loud, and I know that my general idea about who was the judge, I didn't have the exact idea, was that these people were extremely experienced Toastmasters, so they knew that there is no criteria related to having mic on or off. So if they were able to understand the speaker, they were able to judge without taking it into consideration. But the audience or the speaker might have felt uncomfortable because of this. So it's very important to train people who will be also putting this on and off to make it smoothly and not to make any mistakes. Also, going back to the previous, between the different various sections of the event, there can be some rearrangements of the rooms. So especially in the hotel rooms, it's often that you have some walls that you put on and off. Then you should also check with the staff like before, and maybe ask if you can, someone from your team can help, how much time you needed, because you need to ensure that the break will be long enough while preparing the agenda. And I remember that they told us it will take half an hour, then we make it practice, and we agreed that it will take 15 minutes. So they just wanted to be secure, but we decided that if there will be any problem, we can just move the chairs, so they will not have to move chairs by themselves, and we can help, and we managed to do with agenda as we wanted. Okay, so we have the speakers, we have the contest, but we need our marketing and how to do the proper marketing for the conference. First, you should consider the languages you'll be covering. So if there is bilingual, it must be bilingual. It's always, you need to consider which language is official. So for the district conference, division conference, the official language of district is always English. So you must do marketing in English. You're allowed to do marketing in other languages. You should have probably a website for the, especially for the district, for the division conference. The Facebook page might be sufficient. It's better to have a web page because you can put speakers in a nice way there. You can put agenda there. But for district conference, it's kind of must. It can be a static page, so it can be just plain HTML. You don't have to pay a lot for it. You don't need a very good programmer for it. You just need to someone who make a simple but nicely looking page. For this, you just need the content. So you can put. So what we did on the page, we had agenda, and we had the speakers that were and the option to pay. So the information about the tickets and the venue. So this basic information, where is the after party and so on. This was all on the page, and this page was very. Like, I think it costed like 250 euro to create this page. So it was very cheap, taking into consideration that there are high prices, but we asked for as simple as possible. And it was not by company, but by friend of a friend. So there was no, because every company also takes a big percentage for themselves for this organizational costs. And later on, we were updating the page by ourselves because it was very simple to do. If someone has a basic IT skills. And in Toastmaster, there are many people with some IT skills, so you probably can find one who will be able to update your page. If there is no WordPress or something like this, because if you need WordPress, it will cost more. It's good to point also that you put your team also to motivate them on this page. And then you need a Facebook profile. Nowadays, Facebook profile is a must. So you need an event. For the district conference, it probably should be created from the district your district profile, this event. But you should consult with your PR manager who have the right to update it. Because your team needs to be able to make posts by themselves. Otherwise, it can be too slow. And then it's how you can do the marketing. What I can suggest is that you focus on the speakers. First, you announce the date long before. You need to provide information about the tickets. You need to build some interest. So you can say that there are only 10 days till the tickets, till the early birds, and there are 5 days to early birds, 3, 2, 1. That's what the option. You can tell about the best speakers. So you can put some information, one post about the speaker and his or her workshop. And then you can post also recordings. So if you ask every speaker, it can be arranged. We had it both for the division conference and for the district conference. Every speaker had 30 second to 1 minute recording. So it has to be brief. It's faster to record, and you'll not wait that long, and it's easier for people to watch a brief recording. So there were brief recordings of all the speakers we had in the conference in both cases. And you have already, like, if you have 12 speakers, you have 12 posts that you don't have to write yourself. You just need to collect these recordings. Then we also talked about the MCs. So you can make posts about everyone. It's good to have constant reporting, so you build interest related to the conference. And you can also make at the end, you can make a brilliant post with all the speakers visible. So this is also something that people like. And you can, and if possible, you can tag these speakers every time when there is post related to the person. So their friends will see it, and maybe they will come on the conference, or they will tell others that someone is coming to the conference. You can also ask speakers to share the post about themselves and about their workshop on their profile. So it's also a way to build interest. Also, when you think about marketing, you should consider when there are other conferences, because if you promote your division and district conferences all at the same time and build like the most posts in the moment when the division conferences are promoted, and they are usually not that long before the district conference, so there can be overlap. So you should have it in mind when you consider when to do the most of the promotion. Okay, so we have some kind of promotion. Now we are back to food. So food should be considered in the agenda. So 1 hour is the least you must give people to eat. And that depends how far they have to go, or if they have the food provided in the place, or they will have to go somewhere to the restaurant. If you want cheaper tickets, you probably can just let people go to the nearby restaurants, but then you should provide them with details where they can go. And you should consider if these restaurants have enough space for all these people to not stay in the long queue, because long queue means people will be late on the workshops later on. Also, we had a case where the restaurants in the hotel itself was not ready. So too many people were waiting there in the queue and they were late on the workshops. So it's something to consider. So you should talk probably with the hotel that at this hour you have a break, and they should already be prepared, or you should advise people against using the hotel restaurant just before the lunch break, because you can tell there will be too long queue. If you don't have any deal with the venue and they are not your sponsors, you are allowed to do it. You don't have to provide them with additional income. There should be also some snacks. That's great to have some snacks, and you should think how to make it not that expensive. So one way to make snacks in a good price is to think if the drinks are given in the price of each snack. So I have seen it at least twice when there was when the base price was for drinks, it was like it was like €3 for the drinks. So if you get beverages 3 times a day, you have to pay €9. But in fact, if you pay €6, you also have beverages for all the days, because they are because they deliver enough of beverages for the whole day for the €6. But if you have free coffee breaks, you need to pay for the beverages every time. So free coffee breaks means €9 for beverages. If you make 2 bigger coffee breaks, then people will not be able to eat everything, and they will have enough food for the whole day, but you will pay for drinks only twice. So that was the trick we did. So if there is some fixed price related to coffee break, then try to make less coffee breaks and more meal per coffee break, and people will just have everything on the table for the whole conference anyway. Also consider what should be in this coffee break. Some people don't eat sweets, so it can be tricky. If some people don't like eating sweets and some have health condition and they really cannot. So it's nice if they have some snacks despite that. Usually in the universities or places like this, you can get your own catering. For the hotel, you should be prepared. You must get day catering, and it can be more expensive than the room. So that was the case for us. The catering was like 50% more expensive than the room, despite the fact we tried to reduce the cost of the catering as much as possible. Well, still making it on a valid level. In general, the expectations for the district conferences are a bit higher than for a different kind of conferences. So people are kind of okay to pay like €10 more, but have a nicer coffee break. Then we have already our food. So now we have the MCs. So what we need MCs for? One thing, we need them to open the conference, to maybe for the gala dinner, to keep things nice. But what we need them really much for is also to be hosts in the rooms. So someone who will introduce the speaker, but also invite people. This person is good when this person stays in the room before the conference, before the workshop starts, and just answers people questions. What is this about? In this room, what will happen in the room? Of course, it should be written next to the door of the room. Also, there should be an extra information, but it's good to have person who will be telling this, and this person should also be one of the people inviting before the break ends, people to take places in the room if they are interested in this particular workshop, then to open it on time. During the workshop, solve all technical issues. So if there is something missing, the presentation is not working, this person should be there to support the speaker, so the speaker can keep going with the workshop even if there are some difficulties, and the host of the room can take over all the problems and maybe contact the staff, technical staff of the venue also if needed. And this person should be there to end and to also to be a timer. So this person is responsible for people ending on time. So this person should show usually some sign that the time is going to at the end, then closer, and then the end. And at the end, this person should really like 2 minutes before the end is best if this person is just standing up somewhere in the corner of the room and then slowly approaching the speaker. Or just giving visible signs, and just when time is out, like really out, then this person should just say thank you and clap, and just make sure this person is end. It's not just about ending 5 minutes, but ending right now. If you warn people that it will happen, warn speakers, then there's a good chance they will not prolong the workshops. However, you should consider to do the same for the stars. So for Manoj's workshop, I had to stop it because the MC was not confident enough to stop his workshop, and we already did run out of time. So I was from the back just showing him my watch, so he understood. So things like this. So the best, this is maybe not related to this MCs, but the perfect situation is when you as the conference chair are there only to ensure things are going smoothly. So you should not have responsibilities yourself during the conference while it is going. You can be just the person who is ensuring everything is going well, that the communication in your team is good, and that you're able to that everything is fine. So they should know that you are available, and if they need your support, they can ask you for support. Then we have the theme. So the theme is also an important part of the meeting. The theme can be visible in many ways. One of them are the dresses of the masters of ceremonies. The second aspect is some decorations on the event, the promotion. Also, like, I know that people really liked the idea. I don't know if it was of our Master Simon, someone else, but the idea was to have in the toilets some quotes from the movies. So people enjoy details in general. Also, sometimes this, if you have something to put your papers, so you put your notes on, it can also be related to the theme. And if they have, sometimes when people register, they get some small items to remember about the conference. And also the speakers, I did not mention, the speakers should also, usually for the district conference, you should give some small gifts, very small gifts related to the conference theme to the speakers. So they will remember there were speakers there, and it can all be related to the theme, so this person can be responsible. You can also discuss if this person should provide the awards for the conference. So find the award that will be related to the theme, or it should be just the standard Toastmaster award. And what is important here is to consider how much money you can spend, because custom-made nice trophies will cost probably more than just a small glass trophy. That is probably the cheapest you can get. Just you have to remember that if you are producing the trophies yourself, you cannot use the name Toastmasters International unless headquarters will approve it, and they will most likely not do it because they will tell you buy ours. Okay, so the payments and registration. So it's very important to point out how much people have to pay and when they have to pay. So and how they can pay. So one thing is if there will be a bank transfer or you involve PayPal or any additional methods. By default for the district conference, it's a bank transfer to the district account, but it's usually international transfer. So that can be potentially a problem. You can discuss with for our case, we did it with the bank transfer. We're not super happy with it, but back then we saw some obstacles in doing it in a different way from the formal point of view. I cannot answer if it's possible, but I think it's possible to do it also with some company that will be getting all this money and then making one single transfer as a bulk transfer, which can save some money from people. I think that it might be a case that still our district accounts are in UK, so usually there are some fees for sending money to UK. The deadlines for payment are important. So if people register, can they pay in 2 months from now? Or the registration is only valid for, let's say, 2 days or 3 days. So, and then what you do if they don't pay? So the simplest option is just to send an email. You did just to ignore them, but that can be a big problem because they will pay later and expect to, let's say, to have early bird, but they are already paying during the time of late tickets. So you should have clear rules. But you can also ask them. So you can send them an email information. You did not pay, please register again if you are interested, or you can give them an extra chance. So we did not notice your payment, but we are giving you extra 3 days or 4 days. So if you pay within the week from when you were supposed to pay, then we'll accept your payment. If you want to get as many people as possible, it's good to send them many reminders and to give them extra time. If you want to have as little effort as possible, then be harsh and just tell them your payment was not done in time and now you have to register again. So in our case, we had a person who was doing a lot of work of sending reminders, and I think we had like 10 or 20 more people on the conference thanks to that person. So I think it was effort worth doing, but it was a lot of effort, and it should be considered during the preparation. Also, this person should be aware that there will be much work, and maybe he or she can have someone to help. We should have always the rules when people register. So some terms of conditions prepared before people register, because once people register, it's hard to get the approval for other terms and conditions. We can also have we can consider some last minute tickets. So for instance, if you have to tell to the venue for how many people catering they should provide and something like this, you can be kind of sure that there will be few people who want to buy tickets in the last minute. You can give some, if you want to give them this chance, you can tell a bit higher number to the venue and then sell these additional tickets in the last minute. For the conferences, I saw that was always the case. But you should not tell people in advance that there will be such an option, of course, because some people will be waiting for it. And that can disturb your preparation, and you will not know how much money you have. So that's also a thing. You should consider when you need the money, when you need to know how much money you have, and you should base deadlines for payments on this. Okay, so sponsors. It's hard to get sponsors. That's the first thing. You need a lot of time to get big companies as sponsors. Sometimes they can give you a lot of money. So what is usually the, I think, two most efficient ways? One thing, you can get someone who is already involved. So you can get your hotel as a sponsor to pay less, or your party venue as a sponsor, things like that. I saw it working. So, but for the division conference, for the district conference, it didn't work. So in some cases it works. And the second thing, you can get sponsors via Toastmasters. So if you have Toastmaster or a former Toastmaster as an insider in the company, then there is a good chance you will get a sponsor. I saw it both for the district and the division conference that you will receive several thousand zloty. So like for district, it was over 1,000 euro, I think. And for division was 1,000 euro, I think. So it can work, but you need an insider to get a sponsorship from the company that when no one knows you and no one is really familiar with Toastmaster. You can try, but I haven't seen it happen yet. And the fun part of the event, that's the last part of what I have to say, what I would like to say, would like to share. The parties, where they should be. So how far people will be accommodated from these parties, because they need to at least get back from there, how far they are from the venue. So if you expect people to come directly from the venue, then how far they have to commute. Also, people are, let's say, if something is nearby, people already will not have problem to find it. That's also beneficial. So it's perfect if people can just walk to the party, but it's not a must. Some people don't like dancing, but they would like to still socialize. Some people don't like to dance in couples because they feel uncomfortable, but they like to just bounce to some music. So there are people who don't like to bounce, but they like to dance in couples. So the perfect venue allows people to chat, allows people to dance in couples and dance without couples. So not very hard music, like with the a strong techno may not work, and super loud venue may not work. What's preferred is that people have space for their own. So if you can rent the whole club or one level of the club only for Toastmasters, then people will for sure appreciate it. From the negotiation point of view, it's usually it's hard to negotiate that it will be free, but what you can get is that people will get some free drinks. So you'll pay for the venue, for the party, but later on people will be able to spend this money on the bar. And it's very nice if people are able to sit somewhere. So some people really need to rest for a moment, and maybe you don't need as many chairs as people, but if you have some chairs, it's very beneficial and people appreciate it. And if they don't have them, they will complain, at least some of them. And the last part, the gala dinner. So for the gala dinners, you will have a lot of people who love to talk, and they are allowed to talk. So you have your district director and the peoples, and for a Toastmaster, and we all really enjoy talking. So please ensure, and it can be the same for the division director on your division conference. So please ensure that this person will be talking to the point, that will tell you how much time he or she needs. Then you can ask why so much. Then you can discuss. Of course, you are not allowed to tell the district director that he must talk less, but you can just explain that people will get tired if they will and bored, and they will not clap loud enough if there will be too many announcements. What we did, and I felt it worked, was that we did split the formal part with a dinner. So first there was some very brief introduction. Then we had some soup or something like that. So first meal. Then we had more for the rest of the. Then we had more formal part. Then we had another dinner served, and then we had another formal part. So there were breaks where people could chat a bit and just relax. So it didn't feel like they have for a very long time in row to listen. We had some music in the background. It's good to have them, not too loud music because people can get tired, but some music is also nice. The feeling is that on the gala dinner, a glass of wine is something that must be there. So that's I would say that's a tradition. So that can be arranged with the hotel, but usually there is no more alcohol because you have to pay just for more alcohol. So it's best if people are able to buy drinks if they really want to buy them. The gala should not be super expensive because because everyone who wants to see awards for the contests, for instance, should be able to get there. And in fact, you don't have free gala even for the contestants. You have only free gala you have only free entries to the contest where someone is participating, but the contestants, you don't know who won, like you cannot tell them, so you cannot give free entries to top 3. And for this reason, it's best if everyone is able to afford the gala dinner. Gala dinner, in fact, if you want to have some additional speaking there, some fun by Master of Ceremonies, that should be quite brief and very well trained. So it's best if you ensure that this Master of Ceremonies did rehearse what they will be talking, and they will not just do a practice speech like we do on Toastmaster meeting, because that's not a Toastmaster meeting. And if someone will be prolonging, everyone will be yawning and tired. It's already after a whole day of conference and before the part. The last thing I can mention about gala is if you want to put gala in your registration form, add the menu. So let people know what they are exactly paying for. If they are getting some potatoes with rice, or they are getting the delicious food. And also consider the vegetarian option must be there. And it should not be meat with rice for people who are meat eaters and just rice for others. Sounds like a joke, but there was a case for one conference where organizer did not agree on the menu with the provider of the venue, and they just removed meat from these who wanted vegetarian food, and they got the rice alone. That was ridiculous, but it happened. So it's best if you know what you are paying for as an organizer as well. To, let's say, wrap up, do you have to think about speakers, marketing, agenda, contests, food, master of ceremonies, themes, potentially sponsors, registration payments, parties, gala, and then execute it all. So there is a lot of things that has to be done. The bigger the conference, the bigger expectations and the bigger team you need. The faster you start to work, the better. And that's it when it comes to what I was saying. I know it was very long, but still I will leave 13 minutes for a Q&A if everyone is interested.
Yeah, if I may, Kamel, wow. No, thank you so much for sharing everything. You just apparently do love to speak a lot. But yeah, no, I understand the point. It's a tough thing to do. And if you want to mention all the little things inside, it just takes time. Though, so thanks a lot for sharing. I do have several big questions. In fact, my biggest one, and that's the issue where I am stuck in the moment for District 110. We do have the need to do the contests online. How is it for you guys?
We are planning the conference test offline. However, if you plan to make the online conference, then I would go with the contest on a different date, because people will have to, because if people will be, they need a good room, so they need a place. Judges should also be online, likely. So in this case, you will not get many people if they will be distracted with the contest, because everyone involved in the contest will not be on your conference. So if you want to have conference, just do workshops, I guess.
Well, that's exactly my issue, because in fact, half of the, well, from what I have seen last year, when we were fully online, when you have a 1.5 day of kind of contests, and there's the DECM, that the DCM that needs to be online. So I have in fact half of my conference that needs to be online, and just the question if somebody would be willing to come for this half online. I am really stuck on that one.
Yeah, I cannot answer this one because I don't have never organized this one. But I think I would do it in 2 separate weeks. Like,
yeah, but do the people have the time for that? Come on, you have the division conferences just prior to that. It's just.
It always takes time. Yeah, the Toastmaster stuff. But the division conferences are online or offline?
Well, for example, myself in Czechia, what I did is we are pushed to have the contest online because that was decided, because we have Slovakia with us, who has much bigger restrictions than all the others. So it was already decided, 2 months ago that stop it, no contest in person, everybody needs to be online. So we knew all the time. And so what we did here in Czechia, so our division conference was only 1 full day. We had the morning online, then there were 2 hours break for everyone to take their lunches and go to the meeting. We had the afternoon workshops in person, and then we have the evening, pub networking. But I'm just wondering how to do that. That's feasible for a country, but the district, I have 7 countries, and so I'm stuck on that one.
I understand. So I think it's something to be discussed also with the district leadership, because if you choose to make the additional conference, that will be a workshop plus maybe some parties. So workshop plus networking, that would be the purpose. Maybe also training for the district leaders. So if you do use it to also have a training for district leaders, you already have 30 people coming. Approximately, I'm not sure what's the exact number of district leaders in your district.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it's about that.
So you have district leaders coming?
In our, we never put it together, because it's only on the DCM of the district conference that they got announced, and they have usually the training only 2-3 weeks later on in our case. But it's interesting to hear that in fact you are doing this one together. It's
done twice. So we have, so there is like preliminary training just after the conference. So this is like basic what you should prepare for your role, what is about, what is are these, what you should prepare for the training for the club officer training. So things you need to know in advance, because in fact, if the conference is in May and you can start to train officers already in June, and at least you should, then it's good to know it as soon as possible. And then we do another training in September for with the district executive council.
That one we had an amazing one in Budapest. That one at least was in person. Okay, my second big question was just for my understanding regarding the prices. So you have kind of an entry fee for the conference itself, but there is a special fee for the gala, and there is the accommodations which are fully special. And I was just wondering, from what you have been speaking, it was like food is not included neither. It's also another part of the budget for the person. It seems like too many things.
So it allows to make the conference relatively cheap. So what was included was catering. So the coffee breaks with snacks and coffee and drinks, that was included. But the main meal, which in the hotels is just expensive. So it's like, I would say 2.5 of the price that you can get in the bar nearby, or at least twice the price. Okay. So for 2 days, so many people, and some people are always local, so they can just go home or take snacks. So for this reason, to make it more accessible for more people, we wanted to exclude it. But we chose the venue when we had lots of restaurants around and very close. But also the parties were optional. So if someone wanted to go on the after party on the first or second day, they had to pay €5 for each.
Okay, next big question, and this is in fact the biggest one I have. And it goes all around the fact that what happened, 2 years ago prior pandemics is absolutely different from the situation we are now in, right? So last year it was in fact kind of easy for everyone because the district conference, everyone knew it will be only online, and that was it. Now this year, I know many of us will try to do them in person, but the question is how to do it efficiently, how not to be stuck with coming restrictions or remaining restrictions. And my question is how to know how many people to expect, because the number of members is getting lower and lower. And as you have been mentioning, there is also the whole issue of money, because of course it's not only that the less Toastmaster member, it's that everybody is kind of under crisis. So I don't think people are going to be able to pay as much for these things as probably the 2 years ago they were ready to pay. What are your thoughts on that one?
I think that people are also a bit eager to go on the conferences because there were few conferences recently, so that can be beneficial. So it can contradict the effect of money. So, but what we cannot contradict for sure is that there can be restrictions last moment. I think that by May, most people who want to be vaccinated will be vaccinated. Others just don't want to be vaccinated. So I wouldn't, from the moral point of view, I wouldn't worry that much for people who just choose to risk. We have always the restrictions, and for this, I think that, and from what I know, hotels right now and venues are much more flexible in the deals. So what is very important is to put in the deal all the safeguards that you will not have to pay if you will need to cancel the event. And also it's good not to avoid some too high fees in terms of getting money. So you'll be able, so if you have to pay like 10% of the fee to the person who will be transferring money, then you will have a problem to get them back probably. But good thing is that this is that in case of district conference, it's on the district, so it will be not your personal account, but district account.
Yeah, I don't have money to buy for a conference myself, that's for sure.
Yeah, but that can be, you can say that the district leadership that they should agree on the risk that is there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that what is important is that you have, if you choose offline, then you have support from the whole district team. So if division directors and PR manager and area directors will be committed to promote the event, and they will be coming, and then these who expect to be trained for the next term will be coming, and then probably their friends will be coming, and there is a good chance that you will have bigger group of people, especially that you had this retreat event in Czechia, I think. So you had an event which was not an official conference, right? So that was just
the residential weekend.
yeah,
Yeah, but this one we fully skipped because the winter time is of course the worst one for restrictions. But
yeah, but it worked without contest and without DCM, right? So you can do residential event district conference.
Yeah, no, but it's probably something to consider, because if we know that on the contest we are pushed to be online, the DCM is pushed to be online. The only issue I have is in fact that I'm already everywhere announcing the dates. So that would mean, I have these dates, and will I stick to these dates with the contest and the DCM, but have a different dates for the in-person conference? But yeah, probably to be checked with the district team.
Yeah,
I
also
have
this
still
is a
one.
chance. Just brief sentence. It is also a chance for the Toastmasters who are more advanced, just to have a space to share their knowledge and to show up before the audience bigger than 10 people that may be regularly attending the club. So it can be important for people.
But I still kind of feel with the number of members slowing, I feel the numbers, well, you have been mentioning what, 200 to 400? I feel 100. I don't know, but
100 is good, is much enough to have a nice conference.
I think so. I in fact prefer the smaller ones. Okay, one last question, because in fact, it's super important to start creating the team now. And I'm just wondering, yes, as Czech Republic, I have offered to take care of the event, to be the one responsible. But of course, I would like us to have the balance within the district. And how do I go about that? Because, for example, from last year's experience, and this one I loved, so we have 4 divisions. And so there are 4 contests. So it was from the beginning kind of agreed, okay, each contest, there will be one chairperson from one country. In the other one from that country, there will be the chief judge. So to make sure that in fact all the divisions have their slot, and it kind of makes everyone to cooperate and everyone to be visible. But how to create my organization team when I don't know so many of the other divisions, right?
So when you think of the offline part, and I would say in general, if you think about building the team, when you build a team for the, like, say, when I was building the team like now, like for the like club growth director, then I felt that there is a need for representativeness. So someone from various divisions, not everyone from Poland. But when you are building the team to organize the conference that is in a specific place, then I think you should just pick the people on whom you can rely. And I would just skip this part. You can get, if you know someone from a specific division, then you can ask this person to help you with promotion. So be in the promotion team, that this person will be doing something extra to just promote the event among people known to that person. But to organize event, I think it's the most important to be able to rely on these people, and it's better if they are all able to meet in person and to check the venue together with you, and not just come a day before the conference or on the day of conference. So the person who was in my team and like really from this core team the most and was involved was living like 100 or 150 kilometers from my city, and that's what's it. So he was able to come to our meetings.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, in the moment the idea is to make it in Brno again, because Brno is cheaper and it's more closer to the guys, in the Eastern Europe. Because I was really thinking about it, and Prague is nice and everything, but I just feel it's from the price point of view, it's a bit hard on them. Yeah.
Brno was nice. So also, you don't have that much time for the city if you come back to your hometown just after conference.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And so are you going to have your own conference? Do you already have the place, guys? Or timing and place?
Kasia was here, so we have the.
She was writing the timing, yeah, the 2 weekends.
Yeah, we have timing, but the rest of the details, I'm not program quality director this year, so I'm focused on my role. I just agreed to conduct one webinar on this topic to share experience, but I'm not supervising the conference.
Okay. No, but really, thanks a lot for sharing. Many really interesting and important inputs. Yeah. That gave me a nice overview. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Also, I'm happy that you joined. The idea was to share with as many people as possible.
We don't have a. Do we have something European kind of? Because to tell the truth, I'm following Facebook, but I'm checking just my district one, and then the high international one. Do we have a regional kind of group of people to be more in touch?
You mean the regional group on Facebook, or you mean
something
the regional
like that?
conference? Yeah, the regional group exists. I think it's region 10 called, but the conferences, they are disbanded for several years. So there are no conferences on district on the regional level.
Region 10.
I think once I find it, I will send you it to you on Messenger.
Okay, that would be nice.
The whole meeting was very juicy, so Kamil, thank you for that. Lenka, I have a question for you. So, are you sure what kind of a conference are you going to run? Is it going to be online or offline?
This is the thing, I'm not sure. I don't know. No, I need to speak with my district